barbers. What's going on? It's your man, it's MarvyMarv, and you are now tuned in to the Barbers Podcast. And today, we got my guy, Will Stamm. Will, thank you for taking the time.
Appreciate
to sit
you,
down
man.
and chat
For
with
sure.
me.
No doubt.
We're at Funnel Hacking Live 2022. This is my second year being here. This is Will's first year.
Yes,
We're
sir.
having an amazing time. And we thought it'd be great to just sit down and have a conversation. So, Will, for those of you that don't know who you are, tell the YouTube audience a little bit about yourself.
All right, like as Marv said, my name is Will Stamm, and I own multiple barbershops in Atlanta, Georgia, and I'm now opening a barber school. So it should be launching here in about 30 days. So I'm super excited about that. I've been in the industry for about 15 years now. Done really well for myself. I've actually got into real estate and own multiple rental properties, in multiple states across the Southeast. So I've been able to do a lot through the career that is barbering. So I'm super excited and just ready to get chopping it up with my man Marv, man, so we can kind of, share some game for free.
So my man Will.
Yes.
Will's got a lot of game. We're going to get into it. So, Will.
Yeah.
Me and you have had so many different conversations about so many different things. And I just want to say, for one, I love everything you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
You got my support with everything you're doing because I know your heart. I know your intentions. I know what you're looking to do for not only the barber industry, but for the world. So this is me basically giving you your flowers now and saying, keep doing what you're doing. Keep
I'm
going,
thankful for that,
pushing,
man. Appreciate that.
And just keep empowering and inspiring the people and doing what you do because you're doing an amazing job. You're actually about to open a barber school, right?
Yeah.
So, me thinking about that and knowing what I've been able to build through social media, especially on TikTok, I got a bunch of young people following me on TikTok. And as you may be very well aware, a lot of these young people are now looking at barbers almost like rappers in a way, where they want to become barbers because they're seeing all of this cool stuff going on TikTok and on these other social media platforms. So a lot of barbers, young people are reaching out to me with questions about how to become a barber, what should they do, what do they need, and all of that type of stuff. So my question to you is, what would you say to some of those young people who may be following what I'm doing on social media and maybe thinking about becoming a barber and enrolling in barber school?
Cool.
What would some advice be for them?
First off, I'm super excited that you are talking to young people, especially on TikTok, because you're actually describing my personal story. And I was a barber in high school, and I'll just start there, right? So I was growing this beard, on my face very early, and I was broke, didn't have any money, couldn't afford to go to the barbershop weekly. So my grandmother actually bought me a pair of trimmers and was like, hey, if you're gonna go outside with me, you need to look presentable, you gotta clean up. So I took those clippers and started cutting myself. And that is how I got started. So for me, somebody in high school who's kind of thinking about it, doesn't really know if they want to do it or not, the first test would be go line up your mustache and your sideburns, a little goatee or something. Because then you'll actually do something and then you'll get a feel for it, and then you start maybe cutting your own hair or something like that, or even cutting one of your friends or nephew, little brother or something, just to see if you really like it. I wouldn't want to tell you to go ahead and go to barber school or go ahead and invest the money right away, because you don't really know, and then there's another option that you could do to see if it's something you actually like. Now, once you test that barrier and you do say, you know what, I like this. And for me, it was the lifestyle.
Yeah.
I used to go to the barbershop when I was in high school, and I seen barbers, they did what they wanted to do. Took lunch when they wanted to take lunch, took off work when they wanted to take off work. And I was like, yo, this is pretty cool that these dudes are like local celebrities, like you said, like the rapper. But we're the neighborhood celebrity, to be honest. We're always the cool guy. We're invited to all the cookouts and weddings and all that stuff. So the lifestyle attracted me. And what I find out about the younger generation now is that's what they're into.
Yeah.
The lifestyle, freedom. Like, they want to work for freedom, not necessarily just work for work. Right. So it's like, they have to have that flexibility, right? And the pandemic just highlighted that.
Yeah.
So if they're a person, say in high school, who is looking for a flexible career, barbering is a tremendous way to generate revenue with incredible flexibility while being your own boss. So if that's something they're really into, I would definitely tell them to consider barbering as a real start. But just start by lining up your own beard, your own mustache, or something like that.
I love it. I mean, that's ultimately how I got started, right? I got started I was actually living with, he was a friend of mine at the time, and he did a little bit of cutting hair, you know, in the shop a little bit, apprentice type of thing. And it wasn't something he took serious, but he did it, right? And he would cut my hair, and I thought it was cool, you know, he's doing design stuff like that. So then, you know, I started to try to edge myself up and things like that. And then ultimately, you know, a lot happened in life. I ended up enrolling in barber school, and, you know, here we are today, right? But, you know, I started in that same way, just trying on myself a little bit, you know, seeing how it felt and things like that. But then again, I went to barber school. Now, for me, my personal experience with barber school, it wasn't that great, knowing what I know now as a barber. I've been cutting hair for, 11 years now, right? So I had fun, right? And it was great in a lot of different ways. But when I look back at the educational aspect of it, I don't put it this way. My school ain't open no more, right? So something wasn't being done right? Yep. But ultimately, it did its job. It served its purpose, which I feel like, you know, knowing what I know now, most schools, their main objective is to prepare people to pass the state board. So that's, as long as they're doing that, I guess they're doing their job, right? But I think me and you can agree nowadays that you kind of need to, you probably should be getting a little bit more than that from barber school, right? So with you opening your barber school, what are some of the things you want to highlight within your barber school? Because I know you're obviously going to teach people how to pass the state board and get their license, but I feel like you're going to take yours to the next level. So what are some ways where you're going to separate yourself from other schools? What are some things you're going to focus on?
Good. So I'll get to that in a second, but I want to rewind, right? Because what you're saying about barber schools is my exact experience, right? And it's what drives me to want to open up a school today. So just like you, I went to barber school fresh out of high school. The barber school I went to, I don't feel like did very well, right? Didn't really prepare me as well as it probably could have. And also, it is no longer open, right? It's funny, you're way in New York. I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I was in Philly at the time.
Same thing.
Same thing, same story, right? So I actually, to this day, is so crazy because the viewers, they probably won't even know this. I went to barber school twice and never really graduated.
Really?
Yeah. So
my
first barber school I went to, I only completed about 500 hours.
Yeah.
And then I got pushed through like most barber schools do. Yeah. Right? I failed the test the first 2 times I took it. It took me 3 times to actually get it right.
Really?
Pass theory. Yeah, to pass the theory test because I didn't get the training, right? Anybody who's not trained is going to fail. Right. Preparation is everything. Right? So, but I never quit. Yeah. Right? I pushed through. So I eventually got my license, and then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia because I was like, yo, I'm licensed. I can go anywhere in the world. I knew how to cut. Most barbers, if you stick around long enough, you'll figure out how to cut, right? So I went to Atlanta, Georgia, and I worked at a shop. I ultimately got fired, and I opened up my own shop. And when it came to recruiting, I had to go to the schools to find barbers. Yeah. But here's the other thing, right? And this is how the passion of opening up a school really developed. I was hiring barbers who had their license and didn't know how to cut. Really? So then I had customers coming in my shop like, hey, Will, man, I got a bad haircut here, this and this and that. So I'm paying for haircuts that somebody else is getting paid to do. I was like, yo, this is a serious problem. Yeah. So I went from that and I went and enrolled in barber school to be an instructor. I completed all my hours and that school closed down. So I never got an opportunity to graduate. You know what I'm saying? I was taught well, just never really got to prep. So then I ended up having to prep my own lesson plans, took the state board exams and passed that. I was older, mature. I knew how to put stuff together. I was trained well during my time. I just never really got to finish. I got all the hours, and then 2 years later, I ran into the lady, and she finally sent off my application, and I got my barber license. So for the viewers out there, barber school is going to be a journey. It is going to be a journey. I wish everybody could come to my barber school so I can make sure it's as seamless as possible. But in actuality, it may not be. If it is, and it's challenging for you, just do not quit and keep going. And pay attention to people like Marv. Follow us on social media and stuff like that, along with some other educators that you might find. And they can help you still develop, even though if you feel like you're in dire straits while in barber school. Now, to the question, what is going to make my school actually different? And what we're going to do is specialize in, because of me being in the barber industry for so long, opening up multiple locations and managing over probably about 30 barbers at one time. What I find is barbers struggle with 2 main things. They struggle with their own money and they struggle doing business. And doing business falls under a lot, right? It's money management, it's marketing, and it's actually just being able to communicate and have good customer service, right? Those are the main points in dealing with people of business. So at our barber school, at ProFresh Barber Academy, we're going to specialize in helping barbers, training them to be barbers, handle business. So when a student comes to my school, they don't have to know anything. I'll teach them how to cut from day one. We'll get them skills, we'll get them reps. They'll develop their skill set. They have that, cool. But now the challenge starts. When they graduate school, how are they going to get clients? So we're going to focus on teaching them how to market. We'll have people come in and show them how to market on social media. That's the law of the land right now, how information gets to people. So we'll teach them marketing aspects. I'll teach them business structure, tax tips, and things like that so they can keep more of their money from day one. As we all know, barbers go and they're in, these schools and they're in these shops. They don't have any credit. All they got is cash underneath the mattress. And you can't acquire things and build real wealth like that. So it ends up becoming a dead-end job. And then people go find something else to do, or they trash the industry, or they start being negative, like I want to get from behind the chair and all that. But if you actually do it right, you can make well over 6 figures. I actually, right now, we're 1-2 days a week. I'm off for 5 and do very, very well financially. So it's something from a flexibility standpoint. I don't think there is anything better. So.
I love it. And I'm excited, bro. So, if you guys are watching this and you're located in Atlanta or anywhere near Atlanta, all right, and you're thinking about enrolling in barber school, you're going to want to make sure, for one, you follow Will Stamm on all platforms. All right, so you can stay up to date on what he's got going on, and you can reach out to him to get some information about where to start when it comes to enrolling in his school. All right. Mm-hmm. And So another thing I wanted to tap on real quick, and touch on, all right, is barbers. A lot of people enter the industry, right, with the expectation that, like, the goal is to ultimately be a shop owner, right? Like, if I go speak at a school and I say, how many of you guys want to own a shop one day? Everybody's hand goes up, right? I've never once done this and everybody's hand didn't go up, right?
Right.
So part of my mission is to try to help barbers understand that, for one, you don't have to be a shop owner to be successful in this industry, for one.
Right.
For two, being a shop owner just might not be for you, right? It's not for everybody. You and I both know, as shop owners, it can be a lot, right?
Yep.
And what I'm trying to help barbers understand, and people that want to enter this industry understand, is that you can just do so much more than build a clientele, then open a shop. There's a lot more things you could do as a barber. And you got a bunch of things going on right now yourself.
Yeah.
So maybe you can share a little bit about what else you got going on besides the barbering aspect of things, just so that the people that follow me can be aware of, like, I didn't know or even think like that, or know that that was a possibility, or, just some inspiration for them to know that there's other routes you could take. You could become a barber and you can do this, invest your money here, and do this, as opposed to just opening a shop. So maybe you can share a little bit about what you got going on.
Yeah. So it's so fascinating you say that, right? Because a lot of barbers would love to do this kind of stuff where they get other things going, right? But I have this thing I tell my guys is, like, for one, you got to save your money, right? If you're gonna it's not how much money you make, it's how much money your money makes, right? So you have to acquire the money first. So go build the clientele, make your money. Then you can decide on other things, right? So once I mastered that part, where I made 6 figures and above cutting hair, I said, okay, how can I make my money work? That's the ultimate question, right? It's not, I want to go do this, or I want to go do this. I have other passions. That's cool. It's, does it make money for you passively?
Right.
An example of that is when I got into the short-term rental game in real estate, right? I always wanted to get in real estate because I read articles, highly successful people, they all say 90% of the wealth they've earned in the world has come from real estate, right? So it's a safe investment, and it's hard to lose in real estate. And here's why. You have so many people checking for your benefit. You got the appraisal guy making sure you get correct value. The loan officer is looking into it before he gives you the loan to get it. You're doing your due diligence on the area and stuff like that. So by the time you get to approval, so many people have done their research. The inspection guy making sure you ain't got no problems. It is hard to lose. You just have to really save your money and go buy. right? So I got into short-term rental. It was one of the most powerful things that I've done to date. A couple years back during the pandemic, nothing was open but Florida, right? If you all remember that in 2020. So my wife was like, oh, I just want to get out the house. I was like, girl, I feel you. So I was like, let's go to Florida. We went to Florida, and she was like, yo, I want to take you by this beach. It's nice, this and this and that. So we go by. She's like, we just go get a little drink or something. We're chilling out on the boardwalk, just kind of talking, walking and talking. You know, vision building, just looking off into the sky, just dream building. And she's like, man, I would love one of those condos. And I'm like, well, let's buy one. She's like, no. It's a pandemic right now. Like, we can't do that. Like, everything is crazy. And I was like, nah, we're going to do it anyway, right? Because I was taught a long time ago by one of my clients, actually. This is why barbering is so powerful, too. I could go on a big tangent about the people that sit in your chair. It's really like the golf course, the barbershop. And he told me, he said, Will, the greatest times in the world are when the world is in crisis. That's when the wealth is made. So he was like, when you're in real estate, never waste a good crisis. So it was crisis time. So I took a shot in the dark, and I was like, look, I'm going to buy this condo. I could afford it because I was prepared. I saved my money. And in 1 year, I made more cash flow off of that property than I did off of my first barbershop. And I've only been to that property 3 times.
That's amazing.
Not only that, in the first 18 months of ownership, it appreciated $170,000 in value. So in the first year, it went up almost $200,000, which is insane. So then I just took that money and reinvested it again. And now we're up to like 4 short-term rentals across Atlanta and Florida. So that is what you can do. And I'm standing on my mat, cutting hair, getting the alerts and getting the deposits. It is absolutely insane, and it's phenomenal.
I love it. And like you said earlier, it's important to figure out how to make sure you're doing the right things with your money. Right? Mm-hmm. And one of the things we actually talked about yesterday, you made the great analogy, like, you know, sometimes just people don't have money for the ice cream truck. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So if you can even have the knowledge of the fact that you could invest into something like this, right? But like you said, if your money isn't right. You're not going to be able to take advantage of that opportunity, right?
Right.
So with that being said, what's a couple pieces of advice you would have to people, even right now, that may be trying to get their money right for a ton of reasons? Maybe they want to save up because they want to go to barber school, or maybe they're thinking about buying some barber equipment, right? Maybe it's just there, or maybe they want to invest in. They're hearing what you're saying. They're like, maybe I want to buy a condo and rent it out, right? What would be some tips you got for people to get their money a little bit tighter?
Okay, here's what I would do, right? And it's very easy. It's easy entry point, right? But it's so powerful. I would tell a person, everybody has a little bit of money, right? $50, $100, something like that. If you look right now, Google costs $100 for a share. If you can just understand the power of making your money work for you, it will change your behavior with money. So I would tell a person to take $100 right now and buy a stock like Google or Nike or something, right? Because then in Google, when the market goes back up and it jumps up by like $100, $150 a share, and you made $700 while you were asleep, you're going to think about money a lot differently.
Right.
So then next time that commercial comes on TV, you don't care.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? The next time, you know, the guy comes in the barbershop trying to sell you stuff, he doesn't burn a hole in your pocket. Because now you feel the power of $100 making $700.
Yeah.
Now that'll motivate you.
Yeah.
Right? Even if you buy a stock that pays you dividends and you're like, you get an alert on your phone like, oh, it's dividend payout day. Something small like that. It may seem small. $100 is not going to make you rich. Okay, cool. But it can start the process of it.
Yeah.
Right? We all talk about it all the time. Or we were talking about this yesterday, where it's like, yo, you can be a millionaire. You're just waiting for the paperwork to catch up.
Facts.
You have to start those habits now. So I would tell somebody the number one thing is delay gratification. If you can just deny yourself, you can get whatever you want. I mean, and this goes in every industry, everything. If you want to lose weight, deny yourself a meal per day. If you used to eat 3 times a day, eat 2. You'll start to go down.
Simple.
It's simple. You just have to deny yourself. You have to sacrifice, right? People don't
Not
like that.
easy.
People,
simple and easy are different, though,
exactly,
right?
It's simple and easier.
It's simple to say, all right, one less meal, but it's not necessarily going to be easy for you to fight that urge.
That's why I started this with spend $100 on Google.
Yeah.
And let it make you money.
Right.
right? Because you already spend. That's what you do. You
Yeah.
don't save.
Right.
So spend to earn. I was taught by my mentor back in the day. He said, Will, you know the fastest way to get out of debt? He said, most people think it is save and pay off your debt. No. He said, invest and explode it with income.
Love it.
Invest and explode it with income. Because if you have a little bit of debt, but you invested it and then you get a return on it, it'll knock that debt out. It'll knock it out. You won't have to struggle to try to chip away at it.
I love it.
So he was like, explode it with income. So that's what I would tell you.
I love it. And to add on to that point, I think for you guys that follow me, start giving more thought to how can you generate more income. I think, a lot of us think the way we're going to generate more income is by saving, right? It's like save your money and be smart with your money. Don't spend it all, right? Which is great, right? Because to a degree, you do want to be smarter with your money for sure.
Yeah.
And you do want to save it too, right? To a degree. But at the same time, like the way my mind's working now, the way Will's mind's working now, and especially at this event, Funnel Hack Alive, where there's tons of millionaires in the building, a lot of these people, including me, including Will, we like to dedicate a lot of our thinking power to how can we generate more income, rather than always thinking about saving, right? Because like you said, you could figure out something to generate some income, and then all of that debt just be wiped out, right? So maybe just start giving some thought to different ways you can generate more income. Tighten up your money, be smarter with your habits, and save it, right? But save it with the intention of saving it to invest it into something that's going to create.
That's exactly what I was going to go to. I was like, we have to be careful with the narratives we tend to believe. Right? Because if you change a word or two, or you forget or you miss a word, it changes the entire meaning. I don't ever think they told people to save. I think it was always save and invest. They just left off the and invest part. And they just said, oh, just save. Just save. I don't know if it was poor signal on the cell phone where that part didn't get through. But saving a portion of what's already not enough is not going to make it enough.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So, it's safe to invest, but focus on how can we grow our income, right? And I know I got not only just beginner barbers following me, I even have a little more experienced, though maybe not rookie level status, but barbers that are, working to build. And some of you guys are struggling, right, to generate more income. You're hearing this and you're like, all right, well, what can I do? And your idea is maybe, okay, if I'm going to generate more income, I got to get more clientele, right? Because, okay, then I can have $100 to invest in Google or whatever the case may be, right? So for the barbers that follow me that are looking for, let's say, ways to grow their clientele, right? Let's move there because you've grown a clientele. You own a barbershop. You build up clientele for the shop. What are some strategies to help the barber watching me that's struggling to build clientele? What advice would you give to them to help them grow it faster?
All right.
Matter of fact, this is what we gonna do. You know what? This is what we gonna do.
Right.
Y'all gotta click the subscribe button. All right? Because this is what we gonna do. This is part 1 of a part 3 series. All right? So if you feel like you got a lot of value out of this video, make sure you click the like button, leave a comment in the comment section, click the subscribe button, subscribe to your man MarvyMarv. And definitely make sure you follow Will Stamm on all social media platforms as well. Obviously, you see his stuff up on the screen. And be on the lookout for part 2 of this video, because be on the lookout for part 2 of this conversation, because in that conversation, we're going to talk about some different ways for barbers to be able to grow their clientele faster. Not only grow their clientele faster, but keep their clients. All right, so hit the subscribe button. Follow Will. Any last words you got for him for part 1, or?
Nah, I think we said a mouthful, man. They're probably sitting over there thinking like,
y'all thinking. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna let y'all go for now. Hit the subscribe button. Be on the lookout for part 2. Can I get it one time? Let me hear your best barbers.
Jump the hollow with the
Can I get a barbers? Barbers! Barbers!